Oh, well then, yeah, let's go to Decadence then. What you think? What did you think of this episode?
It's going where I thought it was going, so I'm very happy about that. There were a couple things I thought they might do, they didn't, which is like any kind of reveal that Kaburagi was in that other host, but that seemed like a temporary thing, and the focus wasn't really on the humans as much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was because you get that whole bit of Natsume going around and rallying people to, provide resources and to fix the hole in the wall. But I would say that like the biggest reveal of the episode wasn't so much that people came around to Natsume because she's a compelling character even in her own universe, but I think the bigger reveal was that there's gonna be a cyborg uprising, and they're going
Yes.
after the Gattle production facility, which for some
Mm-hmm.
silly reason this company built on top of their prison. So great central
I
planning
mean,
there.
I think one of the biggest things for me this episode was that when he was talking to the captain guy, they don't care about the humans.
No,
They don't care about them, which is honestly like it was kind of surprising to me where I was like, wait a second, they're really just a feature. Like they don't actually care about the humans' lives. When he was talking about, oh yeah, we gotta cull them, I was like, oh, he's talking about them as though they're livestock.
didn't he say something like you should be worried about messing with an endangered species or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
interesting that they
just
don't consider themselves to be people anymore. I actually thought that
no.
that might be a theme. There was not necessarily any evidence that that would be the case, but like this idea of like reclaiming your humanity, I thought that that might be important, but it turns out that no, the cyborgs kind of think of themselves as a completely separate and potentially superior race.
Entity. Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Even though they were created by the
yeah. I
humans.
mean, the little history backstory made it seem like humans were turned into cyborgs at some point.
Mm.
So that's the thing, is that I'm not really sure anymore if if this is like, is this the AI robot apocalypse, or is this like they reached the singularity and people just um, transcended up to being, cyborgs and not people anymore. I don't know. That like there's still a lot they have to explain about like what is
They have to
this,
explain a lot because it's like, where did Kaburagi's new avatar come from?
right? What made it, like, where is it it's some kind of flesh and blood.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like
Yeah.
him. I don't know why she looked at it as like, did you are you going in orange face? Is this like Trump Kaburagi cosplay? But
Yeah.
Natsume didn't recognize him, so it was all right, fine.
Yeah, which I could understand that. I mean, she definitely was catching on to mannerisms, and then there was that moment where I don't know if it was her eyes or if it was just like her imagination that was
Yeah,
seeing something.
I mean,
So
maybe she realized it might have been him, but I got the feeling from the what she said right afterwards, which was like, I have to be okay with him being gone. That
yeah.
probably that was just like a moment of understanding and not recognition. Who knows?
Oh, that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the episode was like Natsume literally like dealing with her life goal or like her dreams literally like falling apart in front of her face and then like trying to find a new purpose.
Yeah, she
I
had a
really
good. There was a
enjoyed
good
that.
line in there. I'm probably paraphrasing because I don't fully remember, but when she basically said like, if I admit that this is impossible, then all that means is that I have to like find the strength to just get up and do it again, or just keep going regardless. And so again,
Yeah,
like they could have gone a different way and required someone to come along and reassure her that
save
in
her.
fact like you can still go. But she came to that conclusion on her own. So
Yeah.
once again, this show gives a lot of agency to a fairly realistically drawn female character who has, her own thoughts, her own ideas, doesn't really need other people to tell her what to do, and just is venting rather than soliciting advice from an older man. So
Yeah.
I like it.
I do too. I'm excited. We're gonna get the cyborg fight scenes now. They're gonna be wacky. I also read a little bit of an interview that the director did, and they apparently were like really worried about the acceptance of the two juxtaposing designs between the cyborgs and the like real world in Decadence, especially with the Western audience, because apparently the cyborgs were modeled after like a Western aesthetic.
Yeah, no, I actually kind of see that. It looked very Warner Brothersy, especially that like the what's that beat up one that's always making the poop alcohol.
Oh God, you said he was like some French prime minister.
Yeah, he has the first name or the last name of like the former French prime minister Sarkozy, I think. I'm like, why would you name your character like that's such a specific thing? So it's like someone was thinking, but if you look at his design, he looks like not anime. He definitely looks like a old 50s or 60s Western cartoon, those black and whites.
Oh my God, you know what they remind me of? They remind me of Sonic Underground. What was that's what they remind I don't know why. It reminds me of that, not because they're underground, but like how that like Sonic show was like gritty and like was it steampunk?
Oh, I can't believe that I'm talking about Sonic Underground in 2020.
I love Sonic Underground.
Yeah.
Well, I was really young when it came out, but I loved that shit.
Because
they were like the
really
rock and roll.
Yeah.
It was like rock and roll Sonic. He had siblings and shit. Yeah, I don't know why. It gives me that aesthetic.
No, I can see where you're coming from. It's also there's this whole like I don't know. We this is Anime Savants, but I have like a whole back catalog of 90s era extreme cartoons. And Sonic Underground was like to be like the tail end of that fad, actually like working in some way. But man, what was the Mighty Ducks one where they were like superheroes?
Oh, I don't even remember.
All I remember is the theme song, which I will not sing. But it's an absurd show.
Oh, speaking of I'm gonna take a quick jump back to God of High School and say they are. I want that OST because they're really whoever did that, like they're doing their fucking job.
Oh yeah, the music is great.
The music is really great. It matched the fight scenes and it changed during the fight scenes. It wasn't the same, like get hype music every single time. It was different depending on which fight scene and what the climax was what climax was happening and which characters were fighting. And I was like, oh, so you guys are actually like planning this and like, are we gonna get motifs now? Are we gonna get character songs? And then we have character songs coming up for another one that we're about to talk about.
They're definitely trying. I'll still say that of the Crunchyroll stuff, Tower of God still has like the OST of the year for me at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, that, I feel like I want to rewatch it. I don't know why.
You'll just be angry the whole time.
Recent. I will be, but I've at least gotten the, like, urge to not read the manhwa out of my fucking head, but I feel like if I rewatch it, I'm going to be like, I ain't no fucking way
if you rewatch it, you will read it.
Yeah, I was like, ain't no way I'm going to stop if I do it this time. No fucking way. That's what those cyborgs give me. They give me Sonic Underground tease. But at the same time, I love it. I'm really interested to see how things are going to play out if they are going to actually meet in the. Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to.
They have to. That's got to be a build up for several episodes.
And then you know what? I'm interested to see if they're going to maybe open this up for another season.
I don't know. Does this feel to you like something that can be contained in like 13 episodes? Like I could see that happening.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna be able to round it all off, or I can see them breaking away from Deca-Dence, or like co-opting Deca-Dence for like the cyborgs and the humans to live peacefully together, but then they have the rest of the world to deal with now. So like, and I remember they said that there was a specific corporation that was running Deca-Dence.
Yeah.
So it's like, are there other such cyborg corporations out there doing the same thing? And then does it become more of like a Promised Neverland kind of thing where it's like, okay, we escaped, we're going to go help everyone else now.
Right. Now, the one thing I will say is that it doesn't appear to me that somehow controlling humans is socially something in the cyborg world that anyone particularly cares about. Like, they don't, even the ones that are more benevolent, their point of view is that, like, people are kind of more just animals, right? They're
Yeah.
just a populate. Like, they're not like, oh, well, our entire society relies on, enforcing some rigid class hierarchy where humans are at the bottom and everyone's at the top. They're just tools to do something. And the reason why I think it might be relevant is no one was like, when Kaburagi goes back to the squad and they're all amped to like go take down the Gattle facility, I think their point of view is that they're just trying to liberate themselves, or they're just trying to cause trouble
Yes.
for the system that they don't like. There's no like, oh, well, we've got to rescue these humans because they're this or that. Like, they don't really seem to care that much. Like, what happens to the people is a byproduct of their own interests. And likewise, the folks who are in charge, whoever, like, was it Solid something corporation? I'm not forgetting the other word. But,
yeah, I don't remember the company.
But like those that we've seen who work directly for that company don't, they, like, Deca-Dence is profitable. It's a business item for them, but it's not like bigotry is what's at stake. It's just deviation from central planning is their concern. That's the whole bug hunting exercise. So it's just going back to our first or earliest conversation about the show, it is interesting to think through what are the themes that they're trying to pull apart in the story. What are they? And then how does each of the movements of the plot get you towards a clear explanation of like what they mean by this, why characters are doing things, why you're supposed to care. And I think they've chosen a very manageable story. So I was worried about sticking the landing. I'm not worried about that. Now I'm kind of with you about like, well, could you expand this? Is there more to do? So when you look at like what they're trying to actually say with the story, and you load in the fact that like they are really not making an argument about the essentialness of humanity, because no one other than Natsume and Kaburagi are really working to do anything specific for humans. All the cyborgs, whether it's the ones rebelling, they're not rebelling for humans, they're rebelling for themselves.
Exactly.
Or at least against the corporation. As for the corporation itself, it doesn't really care about, there's no character that's been associated with like the bad guys has made a statement like, oh, well, humans or humanity itself is a thing that we need to control. It's just deviation from central planning. So there's no essentialness of humanity here, which is an argument that a lot of these shows, post-apocalyptic stuff or invasion shows or ones where humans are enslaved, that's kind of like the subplot is like, there's something essential about humanity, and that's why the main characters are fighting, because that's something the audience, it's pandering to the audience, right? We all think we're special. We think our species is special. But they're not really making any case like that. It's more that, Natsume wants a world where what's available is not designed. It's something people can fight for themselves and get themselves. So I just think that that's an easier landing to stick. And the only thing I'm worried about now is how or if they want to expand the story, expand the lore, expand the world in any way. How could they do that in an easy way?
Yeah.
Just a sidebar. Are you familiar with the TNT show Snowpiercer?
No, I've actually never heard of that.
So it's a TV adaptation of the South Korean movie from a few years ago that won a bunch of awards. But it's essentially 3,000 people trapped on a train, and in a post-apocalyptic, snowed out world where the train is just going in circles forever. So when the show started, since it's a show based on a movie, the movie kind of had an endpoint, which I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it. But it's a pretty definitive end, and the story and the characters can continue and do what they're going to do. But when you set up a scenario where there's a small number of people in a post-apocalyptic environment, and then you want to decide later after the fact that it would be nice to tell more stories and maybe open the world up, how you introduce the opportunity to go beyond that small set of people is always going to be iffy. if you want to continue it, right? Like the Snowpiercer example, there's a train, one train, 3,000 people. So how would you get more people? Maybe there's a second train that they run into that they didn't know about, or something like that. But to pull that off narratively, I had no idea how they do that and make it work. I didn't watch the TV series, but that was my prognostication, was that after a season or two, they're going to run out of stories to tell with just a small cast, and they're going to want to go bigger. How could they make that work? And that's how I would feel about Deca-Dence getting bigger, is that they have a pretty small cast and a small-ish world. So after they deal with the Solid State Corporation or Solid whatever, once that tension is over, how do you grow the world beyond that if you want to? So that's why I think it'll probably fit in 13 episodes.
We'll see then. We shall see.